Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya 'alas salat. Hayya 'alas salat. Hayya 'alal falah. Hayya 'alal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعص الله ورسوله فلا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. إن أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها ومن شكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن ربي غني كريم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الذين آمنوا به وعزروه ونصروه واتبعوا النور الذي أنزل معه أولئك هم المفلحون ألا رضوان الله عليهم أجمعين اللهم احشرنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد أيها الإخوة الكرام, dear brothers and sisters, success, all the success and the only success, the only real success lies in obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following His commandments. The real success in this life by fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He should be feared. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا. O you who believe, fear Allah and utter, speak only the truth. What will happen to Allah? يصلح لكم أعمالكم. All your deeds will become righteous. They will become beneficial. When you do something, you will see the fruit of it. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ, and He will forgive your sins. Not only that, but وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. And those who obey Allah and His Messenger, indeed they are the ones who are going to get the magnificent success, the best of the successes, the best success. My dear brothers and sisters, today we have almost passed 2/3 of the month of Ramadan. 2/3 of the month of Ramadan has gone just like that. It is an attribute of a wise person who uses his intellect to stop and think and ponder. How did those 20 days pass? How did these 20 days have passed? Did I really get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Have I attained the taqwa for which Ramadan has been prescribed for us? How is my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How is my relationship with the words of Allah? How much development, improvement did I have since the start of the month of Ramadan? What is my relationship with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I in the love? Am I in love with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or do I get bored when I start reading the Quran? What is it? Have I got closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because when you are close to somebody, you like to speak to him. And you like to listen to him. So are we listening to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and are we speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do we spend the time per day and sit and ponder, oh Allah, how is my life is passing? Those 20 years have passed, those 30 years have passed, those 40 years have passed. I'm getting closer to my death. Am I really accepted by you, oh Allah? Am I getting closer to you, oh Allah? A wise person should stop and ponder upon this and think about it thoroughly. The month of Ramadan is not being put just like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want hunger and thirst from us. He's not going to benefit anything out of our hunger and thirst. But the month of Ramadan is to revive our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The month of Ramadan is to revive the trust that we have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a reminder for the bounties that we live day in, day out. This hunger and thirst that we feel in our stomach, it should be reminding us that our lives are sustained by what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us. How do we sustain our life? What are the basic necessities that we need? This water that we drink day and night, and we stop drinking it during the day in the month of Ramadan. it should be reminding us that, look, this water, you don't have the resources for it except what Allah is giving you. Now we have reached so much advance in science and technology. True? We feel that we are proud of the science and technology that we have reached. Is there one scientist in the world who can make one drop of water out of nothing for us? Is there any scientist who can make water for us? Today we know that the water is formed two atoms of hydrogen, one of oxygen. But is there anybody who can make this water, this drop of water, out of nothing for us? We can make it out of those atoms, but where are the atoms are coming from? And even when we make it in the lab, is this water really providing the nourishment the body requires? No, it does not, because it does not have the required minerals in it that our bodies need. So the resources that we are getting this water from, we have reached the moon to find the water. We are looking for water everywhere. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ الْمَاءَ الَّذِي تَشْرَبُونَ? Have you seen the water that you drink? أَأَنْتُمْ أَنزَلْتُمُوهُ مِنَ الْمُزْنِ أَوْ نَحْنُ الْمُنزِلُونَ? Is it you who are making it to come down the clouds? Or is it we, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? لَوْ شِئْنَا جَعَلْنَاهُ أُجَاجًا فَلَوْلَا تَشْكُرُونَ. If we have so will, it was in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the water that comes down the rain also to be salty. Just like He has made the ocean salty, He could have made the water salty as well. So He could have made it also salty, then where would have been we going? So Ramadan comes and reminds us that this fact, the sustenance in the life is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only the water, but the food that we are eating day and night. Where is it coming from? Is there any human being, no matter how much advanced we have become now in science and technology, is there any human being who can make one seed for us that we will grow and cultivate on the ground and it will grow into something that we can eat? No scientist can make that for us. No scientist can make that for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us again, أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا تَحْرُثُونَ أَأَنْتُمْ تَزْرَعُونَهُ أَمْ نَحْنُ الزَّارِعُونَ? Is it you who making it to come out of the ground and become these nice fruits that we are eating today and nice vegetables that we are surviving on? Where are they coming from? It is a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ramadan comes and revives this faith into us. By this feeling of hunger and thirst, we are actually improving our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and confidence in Allah and the iman and the taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we reaching that iman and taqwa? Or we have detached the crops and the fruits of fasting from the rituals. We just fast and we don't really feel why we are fasting. We just feel the hunger and thirst. And maybe towards tomorrow we make dua and so on. But there is no connection with the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No real connection with taqwa. Not only those necessities are coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but every single thing that we have is actually coming from Allah. This cloth that I'm wearing, where is it coming from? It's coming either from the skins of the animals, or it's coming from the cotton from the trees, or it's coming nowadays from the petroleum extracts. And who has created those resources for us? Verily, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no bounty. This member that I'm standing on, where is this wood is coming from? It's coming from something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Where is this carpet is coming from? Even the walls, where are they coming from? They are coming from the stones, from the mountains, or the hills and so on. There is nothing that we have today except that it is coming from something Allah has created. There is nothing. There is nothing that we have today except that it is coming from something that Allah has created. We use the brain that Allah has given us to reform, reshape, utilize what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. He is the real provider. And Ramadan comes to remind us of this fact. Don't forget that it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the life is sustained by Him. It was given in the first place by Him. This life was given in the first place by Him. Did you have a choice to be born or not to be born? Did somebody come and ask you whether you want to come to this world or not? Did you choose your parents? Did you choose the time to be born? Did you choose your gender? Did you choose your color? Did you choose your height? Did you choose any of those things, or was it given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us in the Quran, Ya ayyuhal insanu ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem, O human being, what has made you so arrogant towards your Lord? The one who has created you, الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك. The one who has created you and put you in the best of the positions and best of the measures that you have your body and the hands and the legs in the way that they are, whether the eyes are fitting. في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك. In the picture that He has willed, He has formed you. Not what I have willed or not what you have willed. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this life, and it is He who is sustaining this life, and it is He who is going to take it. No human being can take the life before 1 second from the time that has been prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not a single human being. Even if he is a doctor or he is something else, he cannot really delay the death by 1 single second. So Ramadan comes and revives this faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are we getting really that connection with the fasting? And if we are really getting the connection, then it should show in our actions. It should show in our behavior, because if it does not show in the behavior and in the action, that means we are not really getting the lesson that Ramadan is supposed to be for. That's why the Prophet ﷺ in more than one hadith, he says, مَنْ لَمْ يَدَعْ قَوْلَ الزُّورِ وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ أَنْ يَدَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ. If the fasting is not really stopping the person from lying and doing acts of lying, there is no need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that person lives hungry and feels hungry and thirsty, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not gain anything from our hunger and thirst. But it has been put as a training for us so that we can get the lessons out of it and apply this taqwa, this feeling, this God consciousness, this presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our actions. We feel it when we are dealing with the people, we feel it when we are doing the different things. And my feeling of the status of the Muslims today, the status that the Muslims are living today, this bloodshed that is gushing in different places, these robberies and briberies and so on, is because we have forgot those two main actions or two main beliefs in our heart. One is the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If those people had the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there wouldn't have been this bloodshed. If people had this taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there wouldn't have been people stealing and robbing and paying briberies and taking briberies and doing this mischief, this bull that we see today in our earth today. If we really did have that taqwa, we wouldn't have that happening today. One is taqwa, and second is the belief, is the correct belief in the day of judgment. Al-iman billah wal yawm al-akhir. Those two are actually shaky, very shaky with us in our hearts. Because even if we say that we believe, we are very easily saying it by our tongues. But it hasn't really settled in our hearts, because it's not really showing in our actions. And I'm not talking only about big people. It's even the smallest among us. When we have the opportunity to get something that really doesn't belong to us, we just take it. We know that it doesn't belong to us, but we won't take it. Why? Because that feeling of the God consciousness, that taqwa, is not really there. When you are put in the situation, it's not really there. Yes, we might come to the prayers and try a little bit and go back into our life, and we indulge in the same things that we have been indulging all the time. So Ramadan comes and revives this faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the companions, they have proved to us how they used to live in this. You know, the first year in which Ramadan was prescribed and made fard, it's the second year of Hijrah. You know what happened in the second year of Hijrah as well? In that same month of Ramadan, in the first time that the companions started fasting the month of Ramadan, in that very first month, go for the battle of Uhud, Battle of Badr. The Battle of Badr, the first major battle that happened in Islam, was in the first year in which Ramadan was prescribed for the believers. Were they as lazy as we are today? When we are fasting, we're just sitting, lying, doing something, trying to, even people who are at work, they do the work or they don't do the work. They're feeling so lazy. Look at the companions, they went into the battlefield in the month of Ramadan. Not only they went into the battlefield, they were a third in number and they did not have enough weapons. But because it was a commandment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they went into that. So, with that faith, they have won the battle. With the faith that they had, they have won the battle. We have to revive these simple things that we are talking about, but it is really major thing. And we always overlook. Ramadan comes and Ramadan goes, and we are in the same situation. We are going in the same things. And on personal basis, it is my advice to myself and to all my brothers and sisters. Sit down for a minute or 2 or 5 minutes and ponder. Am I really getting the benefit out of Ramadan or not? Ponder, because now we still have a third of Ramadan to go. Ponder, because the best of the time of the Ramadan is now going to come, in which Laylatul Qadr is. So utilize this opportunity. There are many people who did not make it to this Ramadan, and who knows that we will make it to next Ramadan. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه والتائب من ذنبه كمن ذات القلب. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، فيقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا، واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. اللهم برحمتك الواسعة عمنا، وعلى طاعتك أعنا، ومن شر خلقك سلمنا، ومن رزقك لا تحرمنا، وعلى الإيمان الكامل والكتاب والسنة جميعا توفنا وأنت راض عنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة، ونعوذ بك من سخطك ومن النار. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة، ونعوذ بك من سخطك ومن النار. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة، ونعوذ بك من سخطك ومن النار. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين، وأذل الشرك والمشركين، ووحد كلمة المسلمين. اللهم اجمع كلمتهم على الهدى، وقلوبهم على التقوى، ونفوسهم على المحبة يا رب العالمين. اللهم أصلح لنا شأننا كله، ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين. اللهم وفقنا إلى ما تحبه وترضاه. اللهم اجعل هذه البلاد وسائر بلاد المسلمين آمنة مطمئنة رخية يا رب العالمين. احقن دماء المسلمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اهد ووفق سلطان هذه البلاد، بلاد سرنغور، دار الإحسان لما فيه صلاح وفلاح للبلاد ولعباد يا رب العالمين. اللهم وفقنا إلى ما تحبه وترضاه يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك مما سألك نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك مما استعاذ منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك